Welcome back to Tyler's Tailgate Talk. I am Tyler, of course, this week joined by producer Max in the corner over there. Max, say hello to the people.
What's going on, people?
Um, Pretty good episode today. Introducing a few new segments that we're going to try out. Just because the lack of really big games this week in the college football world, there's not a ton of um, really big headliner type games like we had the past few weeks, like the Georgia or Clemson game. But we got a few good ones that we'll get into. We'll start off with the headlines though, because those are always great, and we've got some really good ones this week. For those of you that haven't heard, USC actually decided to go ahead and fire their head coach Clay Helton. This raised a lot of eyebrows because well, not really raising a lot of eyebrows because it was the firing made sense and he needed to be fired eventually. But it was good. It was definitely good for them that they got it done earlier on in the season, just so they can try out maybe an interim head coach if that's the route they want to go. But it did raise a lot of eyebrows when Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Urban Meyer's name got thrown into the mix for the potential head coaching job. And I believe it was yesterday or the day before. I think it was Wednesday. I guess Urban Meyer had a press conference following one of the Jaguars practices, and I guess some reporter asked him about the job, and he said, "No chance," just straight up, no chance. Which I guess makes sense. You probably make a lot more money coaching the Jaguars than you do USC. But at the same time, I guess his name definitely got thrown into things after the Jaguars' poor performance against the Texans in week 1 of the NFL season.
One thing I think I saw, Michael Lombardi, he used to
Yeah,
be a GM.
yeah,
He said that the one thing that you do get if you go to USC though is you're the coach, you're the GM, and you're the recruiter. You pick
yep,
everything. You have so much control. Whereas in Jacksonville, he's literally just the coach. He's not even GM,
yeah.
you know?
And it's interesting because that's why you see a lot of there's not a lot of going back and forth between college football and the NFL in terms of head coaches. And those that do usually only really succeed at one. A perfect example, one of the greatest, probably the greatest college football coach of all time, Nick Saban. So Nick Saban's first 2 year tenure on the Dolphins didn't really work out very well. Wasn't really very good. He was a good coordinator before that with the Browns. That was under Bill Belichick, so a lot doesn't really fall on him, of course. But then goes over to college football, goes over to coach LSU, wins a national championship, gets the job here in Tuscaloosa, and as they say,
Rest
the
is
the
history.
rest is history.
Jinx,
So
maybe.
yeah, I mean, you don't really see a lot of turnover. Obviously, Urban Meyer, his track record as a college football head coach is up there with the greats, but it's only been 1 week. It's only been 1 week. But the greatest thing you can possibly do after 1 week is overreact. And overreacting on the Jaguars' first week, Urban Meyer's not looking like a great NFL head coach. But we got time. We got time. It's too early to overreact on anything. Um, but we'll see how it pans out. Um, in terms of him, obviously, with the USC coaching job, doesn't look like it's going to happen.
This year, maybe next year.
Yeah, this
Never
year,
know.
maybe next year.
Never know.
Um, I think a lot rides on their interim head coach. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he it looks like he's got full reign of whatever they've got doing down there out there in USC. And this is still a good football team. I mean, Caden Slavis is a great quarterback, one of the best in college football. So there's no reason why USC can't win out or something. I mean, this is a football team that has just underperformed the first 2 weeks of the season. So we'll see how it goes from the rest of the season on. But Urban Meyer, we can shoot all rumors down for him becoming the next head coach of the USC Trojans. Next,
Probably not happening.
probably not happening. Next big headline. Interesting one. The Florida Gators are hosting the Alabama Crimson Tide this weekend. Now, why is that significant when they're 10 ranking spots lower than Alabama is? Because they're coming in with two quarterbacks. Coach Dan Mullen said that Emory Jones, however you pronounce his first name, will be the starting quarterback come Saturday's game against Alabama. But at the same time, we're also going to be seeing a lot of Anthony Richardson, who is coming into the season was their backup quarterback. And it's kind of interesting because Nick Saban commented on it earlier this week. They're kind of the same kind of quarterback. Like Nick Saban said, they're both pocket passers who can run and can run well, and they're skillful runners. So he said there's not really a lot to prepare for when you're talking about a different quarterback style. Like if it's a little different if you're going in there with your starting quarterback being Tom Brady and the guy who's going to share snaps with him is Lamar Jackson. That's not the case here. They're kind of the same model of a quarterback. So there's not really much else that Alabama needs to do to prepare for that. But it's just interesting because Emory Jones does have 4 interceptions so far in 2 games and only 1 touchdown to show for it, while Anthony Richardson, on the other hand, I think he has 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 passing touchdowns and no interceptions. So the choice of starting who on Saturday was an interesting one, going with Jones over Richardson, but we'll see how it plays out against Alabama on Saturday. Big headline coming out of last week's college football game of the week between Iowa State and Iowa. Iowa State's quarterback Brock Purdy, known as one of the best quarterbacks in college football right now, was benched in the middle of the game just because of performance issues and not playing well in week 1 to start the season, and then continuing that struggle into week 2. Iowa State's head coach said that he will start week 3 this Saturday against UNLV. UNLV is probably going to be a cakewalk anyway for Iowa State, but just interesting that Purdy was benched and then now is going to get back the starting quarterback job after their backup performed really well. All right, we're going to get into a new segment this week. Something I like to call Tailgate Locks. I'll give you my 3 big locks of the week.
Tyler's Tailgate Locks.
Exactly. That's how you get the fans hype for stuff. I mean, I need Max as like my PA announcer throughout life. I'd be doing so much better
if I'm just following you around and just like announcing for you.
Exactly. Like if I walk into the supermarket, Tyler's getting pretzels.
Yeah. I mean, at the football game, Crimson Tide go.
It's so much more awesome. But Tyler's Tailgate locks of the week. First off, I'll start Nebraska and going up against number 3 ranked Oklahoma and Spencer Rattler. Oklahoma coming in as a significant favorite. The line's at 22.5 in favor of Oklahoma. That's not what we're touching today. My lock this week for the Oklahoma-Nebraska game is the over on the 62 total points scored. Between Oklahoma's really good offense, Nebraska's had some really great offensive showings the past 3 weeks. They're 3 weeks into the season, coming off a 28-3 win over Buffalo and a 52-7 victory over Fordham. Those aren't great teams, but then again, Oklahoma has a great defense.
Evan's going to be pissed at you. Evan's going to be mad at you.
He has every right to be, because listen, I'm going to be blunt. Buffalo's about to get their ass kicked by Coastal
That's what
Carolina.
I said to him.
They're going to get their asses handed to them, and it's not even going to be close. I think Evan's reading into the rat poison, man.
Yeah. Did you see him and Jack talking about that on
Yeah.
this week's episode?
Oh my God. Listen, Coastal's real, man. I mean, a lot of people are shutting down those group of five schools. Coastal's real.
Coastal is real.
Yeah,
Totally, dude. Yeah.
absolutely. We'll get into some more group of five school sleepers later in the episode, but yeah, definitely taking the over. Oklahoma, Nebraska just seems right that they're going to score more than 62 points. I think that would be an easy one. Next up is the over-under on the South Carolina and Georgia game. Now, Georgia coming in ranked number 2 in the country against South Carolina, who's unranked and not very good in general. But the over-under on this game is 47. I would hammer the over on that. I think Georgia, if they're going to win this, if they're going to win this game, they're even favored by 32 points. I mean, how can you be favored by 32 points when the over-under is only 47? This is a game that Georgia's going to win easily. It's going to be a cakewalk for them. They're coming off a 56-7 victory over UAB, while South Carolina is struggling to beat East Carolina. So I think the Georgia offense is definitely going to put up a significant amount of points, and then anything that South Carolina puts up is just icing on top of the cake. 47 points. Hammer the over on that one.
Hammer it.
Hammer it. All right, last one. And this one might be the most risky one. Now, I do want to say in warning that I do not have any professional experience in sports betting. So do not listen to me.
Also, if you have a gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yes.
And make sure it's legal in your state. And
Absolutely.
You're 21.
Absolutely.
But continue, Tyler.
Best idea for anybody listening to this and looking to just cash out on Saturday, pick everything that I'm picking against. Because this is just, listen, my betting
except for Coastal. I think they're actually going to get the dub.
Oh yeah, Coastal hammer the Coastal money line.
I think that line is like 22 something points.
I think 22 and a half is what it was, but yeah. It's going to get ugly.
Yeah.
They need Jarrett Patterson back, man. I mean,
he's on the football team.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't listen to my gambling advice. I'm only doing this just so I can put up a record throughout the next coming weeks, showing you why you shouldn't listen to me. That's all this is here for. But the last one that we're going to get into, Auburn and Penn State. I'm going to stay away from the over-under on this game just because 53 points, that could go either way, but between an SEC and Big Ten matchup. But the line on this game is Penn State's only favored by 5 points. I'm really liking Auburn and how they've been playing this year. They've played 2 games, and in those 2 games, they've totaled points-wise 122 points, and they've only let up 10, which is insane.
That's pretty good.
Insane. Yeah. 60 to 10 in their first game against Akron, and then Alabama State last week, 62-0. Now those are games that you should win anyway, but they're winning them convincingly. Penn State's a good football team. Beat up on Ball State last week. Had a good showing against Wisconsin in week 1. Still not really sold on Penn State, man. I mean, they beat Wisconsin, but Wisconsin's nothing special this year. I need to see a win out of Penn State this year before I can really give them any respect. Auburn, they've played some shitty opponents, but Bo Nix has been playing out of his mind. So absolutely no reason why Auburn shouldn't be considered to win this football game. And giving them 5 points? Absolutely.
That's a Tyler lock.
Absolutely. Lock it in. Hammer it. Please don't hammer it. Please don't hammer it. But absolutely. Auburn getting 5 points against Penn State. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, we'll get into some upset watch, because this, on the other hand, I have a good track record with upsets. Back in episode 1, I said it. Virginia Tech coming
You
out
did.
against North Carolina.
I actually watched that game because you told me to.
It was my game of the week. I told you it was going to be a great game. No, everyone was sleeping on it. Listen, take the upset. So here we go. Tyler's upsets of the week. We just mentioned it. Auburn over Penn State. Forget the spread on the game. I think Auburn has a really good chance just to win that game straight up. Really love Bo Nix. Really love that Auburn defense. That Auburn's going to be scary. They should be ranked a lot better than 22, which is where they're at right now. That team's going to be good going down the stretch. Might be the team to first knock off Alabama. Maybe. Now, but Auburn. Yeah, maybe.
You think they're that good?
They're really good, and they've shown me zero reason to not think they're like legit.
Guys, this is how you know Tyler is not being biased.
Listen, you can see it right there.
You can see it on your shirt.
You can see it right here. This is an unbiased take right here. Auburn is for real this year.
Okay.
Telling you now. So yeah, I really like them over Penn State. That'll shoot them up in the rankings for sure if they take that game.
Hold
Washington
on. For those listening, the right here at Alabama. Tyler is in Tuscaloosa, and
I would hope it would
Alabama.
be obvious.
Yeah.
I would hope it would be obvious.
But we have some people who just listen on audio and
that's right. That's right.
Watching the video. So
go
watch the video. Why not? It's free.
Yeah, I mean,
see Tyler's beautiful face.
Yeah, I mean,
there you go.
Matt, you got Max over here. Why just listen to the voice? I mean, you got faces as well. Yeah, the best of both worlds.
There you go.
All right, next up on the slate, Washington State versus USC. Now, USC, obviously, like we mentioned before, coming off the firing of Clay Helton, only favored by 8.5 points. Washington State's not particularly great. They did beat up on Portland State last week, 44-4. Wow, they scored 4 points. That's awesome. You know what? Props to Portland State.
Hold on. That's probably scoregami.
That's got it. Well, it's also college football. There's got to be. There have to have been 4-point games in college football history. That's amazing, though.
I'm looking it up.
44-4.
Oh, I don't think they do scoregami for college football.
Damn.
You know what I mean when I say scoregami.
Yeah, absolutely.
For those that don't know, scoregami is when an NFL score that's never happened before happens.
Yeah.
So like something weird like 69-1, which is impossible, but
yeah. Actually, 1 points are possible.
Please explain this to me.
Okay, so I don't know the official, like how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you can't win 1-0. That's the thing. You can't win 1-0, but you can score 1 point. If a team scores a touchdown, I'm going to use Washington and the Giants as an example because they're playing on Thursday Night Football right now.
14-13, by the way.
Yeah. Let's say Washington goes down, scores a touchdown. All right, congrats, 6-0. Now, on the extra point, something happens where they kick it and it falls short, and then the Giants return it and then get like a penalty or something. Or Washington gets a penalty, because if they returned it straight, it would be 2 points. But I think there's some sort of penalty somewhere that has to go down. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But there's a penalty somewhere that needs to happen where if they return it back, it's 1 point. I think.
If the defense gets the ball in the field of play on a conversion attempt, and then a defensive player takes the ball into his own end zone and is tackled, the result will be a 1 point safety. The offensive team will get 1 point. That has never happened before in NFL history.
Right. I think they implemented it like 4 years ago or something.
You're pretty close. The article is from 2015. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I live in 2019, so I'm right. What are we talking about? Washington State. That's right. Washington State.
4 points. That's
4
what we
points
got there,
on.
fellas.
They lit up 4 points last week. um, Tyler, here's a good lock of the week. Tyler's lock of the week.
Tyler's lock of the week.
Washington State is not going to let up 4 points this week.
That's a good lock. I don't know where you could bet that.
I don't think it's possible, but if you can find it, hammer it.
If you got a bookie that's willing to give you more than 4 points for Washington
absolutely.
State, book it.
But yeah, playing USC coming off of a bad loss to Stanford and then the firing of Clay Helton. Just something's not right over there in USC. I would say it's a good. I like the pick with Washington State just to come in and just pull off the upset. I mean, they're hosting a bad situation. USC, and Washington's got no problems with their program as far as I know. And their defense is pretty good, only allowing 4 points last week, as we mentioned. So I definitely like that upset. Next up, definitely a game that I will be watching personally. Florida State taking on Wake Forest. Wake Forest coming in 2-0 into the matchup. Florida State coming in 0-2. Wake Forest, because of that, favored by 4.5 points. Also playing at Wake Forest, so that plays into it. But I like Florida State getting 4.5 points. I think Mackenzie Milton has played really well. Obviously, last week was a dud, and they just did not play well as a team. We couldn't really get anything going on offense, but I choose to look past that, and I'm looking back on their performance week 1 against Notre Dame, where they virtually won. The scoreboard didn't say so, but everybody anywhere knows that a winning team doesn't want to a winning coach never wants to execute his players. So it's pretty clear that Florida State mentally won that game. But yeah, I really love Mackenzie Milton, just his story, everything. I think Florida State's got a really good team as long as Milton's got his head on his shoulders, which I think he does. And I really like the Seminoles in this one, getting 4.5. Going into some other big games this week.
I stood outside assessing the situation.
What is that?
I knew it could be rough in there, but how rough? There was no way to know for sure.
Sorry about that.
You're good. Sorry. That was just the weirdest. That was the weirdest, like, into it. It was like I stepped outside, not knowing the situation.
It's that Army commercial, the Navy Federal Credit Union commercial, where the little girl's painting her room or something. Okay. Other big games to watch this week. I would start off with Virginia Tech and West Virginia, the Battle of Virginias. Virginia Tech 2-0 on the year, coming off of a big win over Middle Tennessee State, and then going back to week 1, the big win over UNC. West Virginia kind of been up and down. Week 1, bad loss to Maryland, lost 30-24, and then last week, I don't know what happened, but they quickly turned it around, beating LIU 66-0. So I think that's going to be a good game. Virginia Tech ranked 15th. West Virginia, I believe, is favored. So interesting there. Favored by 2.5 points over Virginia Tech. So that'll be a good game to watch. I obviously have loved Virginia Tech this year. Another big game, Purdue and Notre Dame, both teams coming in 2-0. Now, Purdue's not great. Notre Dame is pretty good. They didn't perform very well in week 1, but definitely rebounded last week against Toledo.
Should be executed, right?
Honestly, a 3-point win over Florida State and a 3-point win over Toledo deserves execution. I mean, when you're the 12th ranked team in the country and you barely beat Florida State and you barely beat Toledo, you got problems. So that's why I really like this game. This is going to be a good game to watch. Purdue's definitely in it. Only favored to lose by 7 points. So this game could go back and forth. Again, I mean, Brian Kelly, not a big fan of his football team, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good one. Purdue, I wouldn't be surprised if Purdue pulled off the upset against Notre Dame, knocked off the 12th ranked team in the country. I think that'd be that would definitely deserve some execution. Absolutely. Couple more games. Arizona State and BYU. A lot of people overlooking this one. But if I had to pick a game of the week, originally it was this one, but I decided against it. Utah coming off close win over Utah, which was a pretty good game.
You just said Utah and Utah.
BYU, sorry. BYU coming off a big win over Utah. I just talked too fast. That's what it is. 26-17. That was a big win for the Cougars. Boosted them into the top 25. Arizona State coming off of a pretty convincing win over UNLV, 37-7. So Arizona State favored by 3.5 points. Arizona State's the number 19 ranked team in the country. BYU is ranked 23. Probably not going to have a large impact on the college football playoff, but definitely could see a shakeup in the rankings, barring anything weird. A BYU win would definitely, I think, put them top 20, honestly. And then Arizona State might knock them out of the top 25. So that'll be a good game to watch. BYU only favored, obviously, Arizona State actually favored by 3.5. Last game before we'll get to my game of the week, which has always been historical. I can't go an entire podcast without complimenting my team, especially after absolutely trashing them, saying that Bo Nix and Auburn are going to knock them off. Alabama, number 1 ranked team in the country, going into Gainesville against Florida, number 11 ranked team in the country. Alabama's favored by 14.5. Bryce Young's been playing really good as starting quarterback. Brian Robinson, running back for Alabama, hasn't really been playing too hot to start the year. But that's just me watching football games. The stats say differently: 22 carries, 130 yards in 2 games, 1 touchdown. He's just not finding the holes, which makes me concerned about this Florida defensive line, which is really good. So I think this is going to be one of the better games that Alabama plays this year. I think Florida is one of those teams that could definitely knock them off, but we shall see. Now, Tyler's game of the week.
Game of the week.
There you go. Number 8, Cincinnati against unranked Indiana.
The Bearcats.
Now Max.
Yep.
Yes, the Bearcats and the Hoosiers. Max. Many people are probably going to be either listening to this or watching this. Hopefully one or the other. The third option would probably not be very ideal. But a lot of people are probably listening to this and saying, how is a number 8 ranked team in the country how is that going to be a good game when they're playing against an unranked Indiana team? Let me tell you. Cincinnati is a group of 5 school, like I mentioned before with Coastal Carolina. We've never had a group of 5 school in the college football playoff. And I think this could possibly be the year if Cincinnati makes a run for it. Now, back in week 1, back in episode 1, I mentioned that Cincinnati needs to beat 3 teams if they wanted to have a chance at making the college football playoff, and Indiana was one of those teams. So this is a huge week for Cincinnati. A win, and they're moving up in the rankings. They're 3-0, looking good. No reason why nothing you could put against them when talking about the college football playoff just yet. Obviously, it's still early, 3 weeks into the season, but a big game for Cincinnati nonetheless. And guess what? They're only favored by 3.5 points against Big Ten's Indiana.
Bring out the hammer.
Bring out the hammer. Cincinnati, hammer it, getting 3.5 points. Money line, -170. Hammer that too. Over under. I'm not touching the over under on this game because I have no idea what it's going to be.
That could be the lowest scoring college football game ever, but it could also be one of the highest scoring ones. It's just like
this
so
game.
unknown.
We might get one of those like 4-3 game. We've got no idea, or it could be like 70-68.
You never know.
Could go either way. That's my game of the week. That one's going to be a fun one to watch. With that being said, to wrap up this episode, I have a very, very important announcement to make that I'm really excited about. Down in the description of this video and in the link tree in my bio of the Tyler's Tailgate Talk Instagram account, you can find the link to my all-new shop where you can get some awesome t-shirts with some awesome t-shirts designed by me. If you want to rep your school at an affordable price, they're only $20.
They're pretty fire too.
And they're pretty fucking fire too.
Or you could you have the classic logo one, right? Like your logo? If they would just want to rock a Tyler's Tailgate Talk one?
Yeah, if you just want to rock the pod and just rock the logo, we got t-shirts for that. Even got stickers coming that you can just buy a sticker, slap it on your laptop, call it a day. Yeah, get the name out. And if we don't have anything featuring your school, just shoot me a DM on Tyler's Tailgate Talk Instagram account, and I will work as soon as possible to get that design up on the website. So go check it out. There's some funny shit on there, affordable price. You're not going to want to miss it because there's some good stuff on there.
Guys, they're pretty fire. Pretty fire.
Max has seen it. We're not lying.
Yeah.
But that'll do it this week. Week 3 of the college football season getting underway. It's going to be a fun one. Max, thank you as always for joining the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Adios.
Peace.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the rest of our channel and subscribe. Make sure to follow our Instagram and maybe consider subscribing on Patreon for our bonus content. You can only find it there. I promise it will be well worth it. Thanks.